Hey guys, these notes are called the Electron Shuffle, and they're about a series circuit, okay? So why don't you pause the video real quick and copy down this page? There's a lot of words on it, and we'll talk about it. Alright, now that you're unpaused, let's talk about our first definition, voltage. So in a circuit, electrons travel around the wires and they carry energy with them. And how much energy each one carries is the voltage of that electron. So voltage is energy per electron. So some electrons may carry a lot of energy, they have a high voltage. Some may have a low energy, they can't carry only a little energy, they have a low voltage, okay? Okay, so electrons, what's going to happen here? Electrons pick up voltage at the battery, so that's where they get energy and they get a voltage because they get energy. All right, they drop off the voltage at the bulbs. That's what makes the bulbs bright. When the bulbs get the voltage, then the bulbs have energy. And they go back to the battery empty-handed for more voltage. So the electrons have to go back to the battery having given away all their voltage to the bulbs. In our example, the electron shuffle, energy is going to be represented by pretzels because, you could eat them and get energy, so why not, right? Here's our series circuit one bulb diagram. Copy that down, all the parts of it, and then we'll talk about it. You might have noticed when you're copying this down that there are these basically slashes here, and those are pretzels, okay? Those are the pretzels that are picked up at the battery, okay? Here we have a 9-volt battery. So the electron's going to start off going this way, and you could see in this electron's backpack, he's carrying or she's carrying 9 pretzels, which means they have a voltage of 9 pretzels per electron. Okay? And what this electron does, every electron is going to do in this circuit. Since there's only one bulb, the electron just walks along the wire until finally it gets to that bulb and it drops all 9 pretzels in that bulb, which makes that bulb pretty bright because that bulb gets 9 volts dropped at it, just like was picked up at the battery. It gets 9 pretzels dropped in it. Okay? And then when the electron goes through, you can see that their backpack is empty, going to be loaded up again at the battery. So make sure you copy that down. Now with 2 bulbs, what's different? Alright, so it's going to start the same way, but I think what we should remember now is when there are 2 bulbs in a series circuit here and here, that the bulbs were dimmer. The bulbs were dimmer, and this is going to explain why the bulbs got dimmer. So the electron starts off just like before, going from a 9-volt battery, so it has 9 pretzels in its backpack. It goes along the wire to the first bulb, and when it gets to the first bulb, it drops 4.5 of those pretzels. Why 4.5? Because it has more to drop off later. It can't drop off all 9. If it dropped off all 9 here, this would get 0. If it dropped off all 9 at the first bulb, the second bulb will get 0 volts, which means it wouldn't light. The more volts it gets, the brighter the bulbs are. So it drops off 4.5 here, half of its volts, and then it drops off the other half, 4.5 volts here, which means because when there was one bulb, it dropped off all 9 at that bulb. Now each bulb's only getting 4.5. So because you're splitting up your voltage drops between 2 bulbs, each bulb is dimmer. So it drops off 4.5. And here I drew this little thing that says it's still carrying 4.5 in its backpack as it goes to the second bulb. Then it drops off the rest and it's empty-handed again, going back to get 9 again at the battery. You could imagine with 3 bulbs what might happen now. Again, a 9-volt battery, and it starts off with 9 pretzels in its backpack. But you can see the drops are going to split up 3, still holding 6 then. Drop 3 more, now still carrying 3, and finally drops the last 3 volts and goes back empty-handed. So if it picked up 9 at the battery, it has to drop off all 9, but now it has 3 bulbs to do it at. And because it has to drop 9 at 3 bulbs, it has to split up its drop between the bulbs. It can't just give all the volts to this one and leave this one begging for more, because then this one wouldn't light at all. But 3 bulbs is the dimmest one we saw in the lab, the dimmest example of a series circuit, because the more bulbs there are, the more you need to split up your voltage given to all those different bulbs. So if there were 1,000,000 bulbs, the split up would be a lot, and they would hardly light. So this is what we saw in the lab, that series bulb brightness, more bulbs means they're dimmer. Why? Because the volts are shared more between bulbs. Okay? The more bulbs you have, the more the voltage needs to be shared. So they get dimmer. Well, I'd also want to review here so you could write down your notes. What happens when you unscrew bulbs? Alright? In a series circuit, which we were just looking at, all the bulbs turn off. Why? Because it breaks the connection to all the other bulbs. Remember, there's only one path in a series circuit. So if one part of that path is broken, no electricity will flow at all. So unscrewing one of the bulbs breaks the path to all of the bulbs.